Welcome to Break Free to Brilliance podcast, empowering women in business through thought provoking interviews and insights. Embrace your authentic power, explore the impact of your story, and discover how writing your best selling book can amplify your message, authority, and the three I's: impact, influence, and income. Let each episode guide you towards brilliance in minutes. This is your host, Seema Giri. Next speaker is Pamela Plick. She is also someone that I've known for quite some time and shared many different groups. And I know she is, I call her the money lady because that's what she's going to be talking about. Her focus is to help women overcome their money, um, where they're stuck with their money and grow their business and their lives, right? Hi, Pamela. So happy to have you here today.
Hello, Seema. I'm excited to be here.
I am so excited. I used to shy away from money, so much so that I wouldn't even look at my bank account until I absolutely had to. And now I totally enjoy. So I think this is such an important work that you're doing in helping women overcome their money challenges. So tell us, Pamela, what is your story and how did you get started in your business?
Oh, absolutely. First thing I want to say is that I am so grateful for where I am, that I have a business, a thriving business that I love, doing the work that I feel that I'm called to do. Working with clients that I love, with the financial freedom, not only financial freedom, but the freedom of time to be able to take time away, spend time with family and friends. And, that was not always the case. My money story actually began over 30 years ago. At the time, it actually began with my divorce.
Mm.
Although I had I just taken on a great entry level job or position in banking and finance. Everything was planned except for the divorce. And at that time, my son Frank was only 2 years old. And so I was in a very scary place. My plan was to work really, really hard to be able to get promoted and then be able to spend more time with my son. I hadn't planned on being uh, the sole person in charge of my son and myself, our finances. But that was what happened. And so I did work really, really hard. And I didn't have a practical financial plan. My plan was, again, to work really hard, hopefully get promoted, and in turn, I'd have more uh, time freedom to spend with my son. But that did not happen. Just kind of fast forward, yes, I was promoted. Yes, I climbed the corporate ladder, but at the expense was I felt very burnt out, not only physically from years of overwork, but also spiritually and emotionally.
Mhm.
And what I realized was that I never stepped back, took some time to think about what it was that I truly wanted in terms of my career, what I wanted beyond banking. I always knew that I wasn't meant to be in corporate America all of my adult career. So I took some time away, really got clear, first of all, on by overcoming limiting beliefs or beliefs that no longer serve me. I had to take a look at those. First of all, I knew I needed to practice forgiveness, not just for my ex-spouse, but also for myself, because at that time I felt like I was a failure, because the marriage didn't work.
Mm.
But forgiving myself, also looked at ways that I was living my life financially. that were no longer in alignment with what how I wanted to live my life.
Mm.
And I also kind of stepped back, got some support, and then determined really what I wanted to do. I knew that I wanted to have my own business. I had in the course of my career, I came across a lot of women who were not engaged around their money, and I knew that I wanted to make it my mission to empower them to confidently build wealth from the inside out. So I also stepped into more education. At that time, became a certified financial planner, practitioner, as well as a certified money coach. And I made it my mission to empower women. And so, again, today I'm so excited, to have that thriving business that I love. And also, the best part is that I am able to spend time, I have that freedom to take time away when I want, to be able to spend time with my friends and family and my son, who is an awesome adult. He's grown into an awesome man. And as a bonus, I have a beautiful daughter-in-law too. So
Oh,
that's what
wonderful.
led me to doing this work that I'm doing today.
That's amazing. And congratulations for taking that step and taking control and creating what you wanted. I mean, we can tend to, when we go through a difficult challenge like that, we tend to, stay, you I can't think of the word I'm looking for, is to really be hard on ourselves. We don't have that kind of compassion. And you realize that you were able to go through the forgiveness process of, probably being too hard on yourself and not giving yourself the grace and compassion you would for someone else going into a similar situation. And now empowering other women to do the same. That is, I think that's so meaningful. So congratulations for you doing that. What do you think is the number one issue women have when they around money? Do you find that it stems from somewhere, maybe in the childhood or how they were raised?
I absolutely do. Now, most of us don't realize, that our money beliefs are imprinted upon us as children,
Mm.
um, usually by our parents or whoever was responsible, were our caregivers growing up. If you think about how was money talked about in your household, was it even talked about? What were some of the things that you heard? Was there a feeling of lack or a feeling of prosperity in your home? And those beliefs, things that we hear, imprint upon us. And what they do is they show up as adults, in our adult lives, in how we manage our money.
Mm.
And, I truly believe that, our personal relationship with money directly impacts not only how successful we are in our personal lives, but also in our businesses as well. And I also want to mention that there are three aspects of money, or three pillars of money, that we need to address, and that we may have beliefs that don't serve us
Mhm.
in those areas. And it's the spiritual, the emotional, as well as the practical. And, in terms of the practical side, we all know what to do when it comes to our finances, right? Especially, well, as business owners in particular, we know that we need to know our numbers, right?
Yes.
We need to look at our financials periodically, or we need to make those outbound calls to prospective clients. But if we know what we need to do, but we're not doing it, then there's something that needs to be addressed in the two other two pillars.
Yeah, that's really I think that that's really important, those three pillars. That is true. I mean, it took for a while for me to realize the imprints too. As an immigrant family, I was always told you have to work hard, you have to struggle. money doesn't, I think many of us have heard this, money doesn't grow on trees when technically they do.
Absolutely, absolutely. And the big one that my father said that too. That was a big one. Money doesn't grow on trees. And that you have to work hard. Now, that was imprinted upon me because my dad was a military dad. I grew up as a military dependent, and I know that that was true for him,
Mm.
right? But you realize, and that's how I started out. But then I realized that, there's a better way. It doesn't have to be this hard. I want to have a business that I love, but I want to be able to build it with ease,
Yes.
not having to always do. So, thinking about that, I would encourage the ladies that are watching to think about what were some of those beliefs that you heard or statements you heard growing up, and how are they showing up today and how you manage your business and your life.
So when you say that, Pamela, I think like, okay, how do I actually do that, right? How do I actually remove that imprint? Can you give us some guidance on how to go from having that belief to, I mean, it's going to take time. It's not going to happen overnight, but how can one start implementing or take those steps?
Yes. And there's actually 5 steps that I'd like to quickly share.
Sure.
And these 5 steps are really how you can shift into a CEO money mindset. And so the first step is really to uncover what are your get clear on your fears. What are those fears that are coming up? Um, is one of the fears or one of the beliefs that I hear from women CEOs is that, I don't know if I can make money doing what I really love.
Mm.
Is that a fear? Or, I'm not sure if I can raise my rates because I might lose clients. So, am I really worthy of the type of business that I love? So, getting clear on those fears first is, we have to get clear in order to overcome them. Dive headfirst into an honest reflection about your relationship with money and what are your beliefs about money that are not serving you. And once you've done that, then it's time to identify what are your desires. What is my vision? And I encourage, my clients to create a big grand vision, not just about, your business, but also because money affects every area of your life,
Yes.
right? Your business affects every area of your life as well. So understanding, what is your vision and how it impacts every area of your life. And then once you've identified that vision, then it's important to move towards the vision. And then so the second step is to reprogram your money mindset. And I mentioned there are 3 aspects: the spiritual, emotional, and practical. And there are actually 8 money archetypes, that drive our money decisions. And I remember, and if I recall, Seema, you said earlier, that you did not want to look at your numbers. You didn't want to
Yes.
know, right? Your in what you earned in your business, or maybe you just didn't like dealing with money. And I hear that quite often, especially with women entrepreneurs who are creatives. Actually, that's one of the money archetypes, the creator artist. And the creator artist, has kind of a love-hate relationship with money because they just want to do the work they love. They want to help people, but don't want to worry about the financial end of it. And so, thinking about what are your beliefs about money, and the first step is to forgive yourself, right, for feeling the way that you do about money. Because if you think about it, the truth is that our negative beliefs have been there for so long, since childhood, and our brain is going to filter out anything that doesn't necessarily align with your views. So then you want to rewrite those conscious mindsets and to adopt a more positive money mindset. And one of the ways that you can do that is through affirmations. Even if you don't quite believe it yet, an affirmation is just a positive statement. If you say, well, I am not good with money, or I will never be able to make the amount of money that I want to make in my business, shift that to a positive statement. I i am attracting uh, clients that I love. I have a thriving business working with clients that I love, doing the work that I love. And that will kind of shift your mindset. And then the third step is to release, to receive. Now we need to release, there's not just, we all know about the physical clutter, right?
Mm,
Creating an environment that allows us to create, it nurtures us. But there's also mental and emotional clutter that we need to address as well. And, so one of the best ways to do that is to release the mental clutter and the emotional clutter is through forgiveness. Thinking about what money mistakes have you made in the past, or even related to your business, or
mhm,
yeah, other situations where someone else took advantage of you financially. So practice forgiveness, not only for them, and you don't need to forgive the act, you just need to forgive the person, and also forgiving yourself as well. Then, once you've done that, you've released to receive, then it's time to transform those money habits. Um, because, we need to take action, right? We want to tell the universe what we want through our vision, right? And the how is not up to us, but being clear on what we want and then taking that inspired action by creating goals. We have our big grand vision. Hopefully, it aligns with your values. If not, you need to revamp it. And then creating goals that are going to help you get to that big grand vision, and then get quiet and think about what is my next inspired step that I can take to create the vision that I want. And one of the major limiting beliefs that I see that stops CEOs from stepping into their next level is the idea or belief that they don't know how.
yes,
And when we say, I don't know how, usually that leads to procrastination. And that's the biggest mistake that we can make, is to procrastinate, because the procrastination comes out of fear of making a mistake.
yes,
And it is easily overcome, you know, um, by getting clear on what you need to do, tracking your cash, keeping your head out of the sand, using, the creator artist that, as I mentioned, money archetype as an example. And, I also use the analogy of the ostrich with the head in
mhm,
the sand, right? The ostrich doesn't want to see anything. They just stick their head in the sand. So keeping your head out of the sand and creating money goals. And then lastly, it's time to create abundance attracting rituals. And you can cultivate a healthier relationship with money by watching how you talk about money, also practicing gratitude, because what we appreciate appreciates. There's always something to be grateful for wherever we are financially and wherever we are in our business, and to get grounded and centered through our morning practices or even afternoon practices, whether that's prayer, whether it's meditation, affirmations, whatever it is that helps you to create the feeling of abundance. And I also want to mention it's to remind you that money is energy and it's neutral. It's not positive and it's not negative. It's really what we assign, the emotion we assign to money, whether we assign a negative emotion or we assign a positive emotion, that's how money can affect us. But remembering that money is a tool, it's not the goal, because we're all, I think the ladies on the summit today are probably women that strive to live an abundant life, and part of that abundance is prosperity, right? Because the more money we do, the more money we make in our business, the more good we can do in the world. We don't have to keep it, right? Money is not our primary goal. It's really to do the work that we feel called to do, make the difference that we're called to make in the world.
I love that. Those were amazing steps, first of all, that you gave. Thank you for that. And I love how you say money is energy. So it
Mhm.
just takes a lot of pressure off as well, right? And then that I can shift the energy.
Absolutely.
Like,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Mhm.
you can shift the energy, and because I can have all kinds of mindset. I can be positive about it and do it. But if my energy doesn't change around that, or the feeling around money, then I've seen that it doesn't really flow to you as you want it. And another important thing that you've said was forgiveness. And I want to highlight on that is that because it took me a long time to realize this about forgiveness, is that forgiveness doesn't mean that you're okay with whatever act or whatever thing that has happened. You're doing this for yourself. It's not even for the other person. You're doing it for yourself so you stop drinking that poison of anger or that poison of hurt, because that really affects you the most. It doesn't affect anyone else. The other person's done their deed and moved on, living their life. Forgiveness is really for yourself. And we keep living in the world of should haves and could haves. I mean, when I started having trouble looking at my bank account was because I just lost my business. We were going through this financial hard time. And it was like, how do you manage without letting even the kids know or feel that, we're having the financial issues, right? And looking at that time was really really hard, but then I also knew if I don't do it, I'm going to get stuck, and I'm not going to move forward. So it's okay that I wasn't able to do it. You had to get back on track and get back on things. So I think we really, when you're running your business, or even when you're not running your business, you really need to have money. Like we were talking about earlier, your message is your foundation. Knowing about money, knowing about your numbers is also the foundation, another foundation of your business. And the more comfortable you can, it's like building a relationship, isn't it, Pamela? You're building a relationship with money.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you want to not only have a positive relationship with money, but have a relationship of gratitude as well.
Yes.
So anytime money comes in, be grateful. And if it's not coming in yet, knowing that it's on its way.
Yeah,
So being grateful.
that's amazing. Um, yes, and I think this is a different way of looking at, in terms of money and talking about money. And we don't even talk about it as openly, right? In our generation, money was not talked about. It was always behind the scenes and hidden. Children are out of the way. In fact, we're not even taught how to utilize money properly. You just get a job and then all of a sudden you're supposed to know. So it's great that we're creating, you're helping in creating these conversations.
Absolutely. And I'm a firm believer that, the like I mentioned, the limiting belief is about I don't know how, you know, eh, it's just easy. There's so many resources now, maybe that we didn't have
Hmm.
available to us before, but there's so many ways to get that knowledge and education. And that is the key. Even if you don't know what you don't know, there's still opportunities to like being part of a community that, of like-minded women that talks about empowering yourself around money, um, attending workshops, reading something as simple as reading one piece of financial information every day.
Hmm.
There are so many opportunities to get that knowledge. And when we don't have it and we're thinking of managing our business from a place of lack, then what it does is it steals our joy,
Yes.
our optimism to take those bold actions that we need to take, right? To step out of our comfort zone to create the type of business that we want to create.
Yes. No, that's great. It's so important. It's let's get comfortable about having these money conversations, start developing these daily rituals where we can have better understanding and build that relationship. I think that's really key. Build that relationship. When I think about it in that terms, Pamela, I feel like, okay, I can change it. It can always become better. I have gotten into the habit of always saying now, how can it get better than this? With great excitement, how can it get better than this? And then the universe has no option but to show that to me.
Right, absolutely. When you ask, you'll receive. And I also want to mention something too, related to, as women, we typically were taught to be the caregivers, right? We took care of, we're taught to take care of everyone else before we take care of ourselves. But it's the thing is taking care of yourself financially, building a solid financial foundation for your business and yourself is a form of self-care. We don't realize that. We know that, if we go and get a massage or we get manicure, things like that, that's
Yes.
self-care. But taking care of yourself financially is also a form of self-care. And it's really okay. It's not selfish, it's self-full, right?
Yes.
It's
You're speaking my
self-full.
my language. Thank you so much for sharing that, saying that, because that's what I've been saying. I have been told so many times, self-care is being selfish and this, and that's why I became bedridden with three types of autoimmune issues. And it's like, no, it's the most selfless thing you can ever do. So, and finance is one of them because that is your main thing for everything, for not only for you, but for your family as well. So, that if you think of money as the self-care and those activities as self-care, I think that's going to really change the trajectories. Thank you so much for sharing it in that way.
Ah,
I think that's going to be a game changer.
absolutely. Absolutely.
This has been so insightful, Pamela. Every time I talk to you, I learn something new. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom today with us. And I believe you have a special gift for our guest today.
I absolutely do have a special gift. I've
Yes.
created a CEO money mindset workbook. And it is actually a proven process that has helped countless women, entrepreneurs like yourself, break free from limiting beliefs and to embrace abundance in their businesses and their life. And, actually, it's the same process that I use with my clients. And it's amazing the success that I witnessed when the clients actually work through these steps. And so it is a companion to what we're talking about today.
So thank you so much, Pamela, for the gift and for sharing your wisdom and for doing the work that you're doing. It's really important, and we really need to have these conversations happening.
Oh, you're very welcome. I'm honored to be here today.
Wonderful. Have an amazing day. Thank you for tuning into this episode of the Break Free to Brilliance podcast. And I hope you had some key takeaways that you can implement right away. Be sure to subscribe to Break Free to Brilliance wherever you listen to podcasts. You can also follow along with us on social media using the links in the show notes below. We'll see you again for the next episode.